Hey guys, George here from Pack Instinct. Hope you're all doing. Oh, broke my chair. Hope you're all doing really well. It's been a long time since I've done a live video here on Facebook. So hello Facebook, hello people on Facebook. If you're watching this or if you come into this, just say hi. And if you want to get involved in the conversation, because this is the whole point of this, is that I wanted to make a little bit of a video for you guys today, talking particularly about introducing dogs to each other, and a couple of things on that topic. So if any of you guys would like to talk to me about that, then you know this is what this is all about. I'm just here to hopefully share some information, share some perspective from my side, because I think there's a lot of kind of sorry, sort my chair out. A lot of kind of different ways of looking at this, shall we say? A lot of different ways of looking at this. Introducing dogs, the reasons for introducing dogs, how to introduce dogs in a way that is going to set them up for a long-term relationship. Versus as well just like kind of meeting dogs when you're out on the walk, and whether you should let your dog meet with those dogs, you know, when you're walking around on leash. So this is what I wanted to make this little bit of a live about today, guys. I was speaking to somebody about this week, and it kind of gave me the idea of talking about it, because it's not really something that I hear many trainers talk about too much. So maybe a bit more of a discussion on this would be helpful for people, especially new dog owners that want to know about introducing their dogs to other dogs. You know, is it a good idea? Is it socializing? Is it safe? Is it the right thing to do, basically, right? And so, like I said, I think there's different perspectives on this, depending on who you are, basically, and where you're coming from, thinking about it. But I wanted to like share my own side to this as well, and hopefully help you guys out. If I tell you guys about like how I used to do this, basically, because what I about 12 years ago, I was a dog walker. Okay, so I would go to people's houses and I would take the dog out for a walk. And sometimes I would go and get another dog and take two dogs out together if they lived close enough to each other, or if it was just like appropriate to do that, then that's what I would do. So it became very like obvious to me very early on that, okay, wait a minute, you're going to be taking dogs out together, dogs that don't necessarily do well with other dogs, let's say, okay, haven't had any training necessarily, and the goal is to get them getting along so that I could take them out together, right? And I didn't want to be taking dogs out that were going to be like fighting with each other all the time, and you know that wouldn't be any fun, and it would be very dangerous, you know. So it was very important to me, like I said, very early on, that I got this right, and that I introduced dogs in a way that would set them up for a long-term good relationship, not just a quick like kind of, oh, it was good today kind of thing, you know. So that's what I needed to find out. I needed to find out how do I do that? How do I introduce dogs in a way that's going to be safe? Now, there's something, guys, that I've mentioned before in lives, and it's something that I'm quite proud of, and I'll explain why. And that is, I've never had a dog fight take place. Over the years, I've done dog walking, pack walks, dog training classes. I've used to take huge amounts of dogs to dog parks together. I've never had a dog fight take place, and this is something that I say I'm sort of proud of it. I just sort of, I think it's the way it should be, basically. And it sounds silly to say that, but then there's some YouTube dog trainers that, like, every video you see or every other video, there's a fight taking place. Which is just crazy to me. I've never had a dog fight actually occur. Not with dogs in my presence. It's just never happened. Okay, and because the goal has always been for it never to happen, if that makes sense. The goal has always been to do this in a very safe, methodical kind of way that allows dogs to get along with each other, you know? And so because that's my goal, and I take that very seriously, very, very seriously, and I always have done, taking that very seriously, it just means that I've always gone about doing this a certain way, pretty much. I've always introduced dogs the same way. I've always approached the situation, reading the situation from a distance, reading that dog, reading that owner, reading the dog that I'm with, reading the whole situation, reading the environment. Now, that's kind of the answer, guys. If you don't really want to watch any more of this video and you just kind of want the answer is stay safe and learn how to read the situation so that you know if it's appropriate to introduce two dogs to each other. And if anything was to escalate, you know what the signs are there so that you can remove the dogs from the situation, you can get out of that situation, you can, like, even before you get close to that dog, you'll have a pretty good idea of what's going on if you know how to read a dog and the owner and the situation, right? So that would be my advice, because that's exactly what I do myself. I always read the situation and I always go through this kind of checklist in my head. That dog, the owner, this dog that I'm with, me. Am I in a calm state? Calm myself, breathe, relax. Okay, now, is it appropriate to do this right now? Do I want to do a dog meeting right now? Is it appropriate? And sometimes it is, and sometimes it's okay to do so. And that's the truth of it. I've been on the Paseo sometimes, guys, with the dog, and we've been just walking, and we walked past many dogs, and he's been pretty good. May have needed a little bit of guidance due to reactivity or whatever. And then out of nowhere, some little dog just kind of like walks up to me and this dog. And it might sound really strange to you, but quite often I'll just read that. I'll look at that dog and I'll just kind of look at my dog, and I'll kind of read the situation. And from there, I'll decide, wait a minute, do I need to block and kind of deter that dog from coming over? Or can I just breathe and relax and let my dog or the dog that I'm with meet this dog, you know? And so many times I've done that, just as I said, like just with a dog kind of wandering up to us. And I've just gone, okay, no, I'm relaxed, he's relaxed, cool, we'll let this little meeting happen, okay? But again, I kind of go through that little bit of a checklist of checking everything out before letting that happen, right? And then if it's not appropriate, then I will block, and I'll stop this dog from getting to that dog, and I'll stop that dog from getting to this dog. That's something I've had to do many times, many times. Like especially I remember in the group classes, we used to do group classes down by the beach, and occasionally we'd have a dog rush up from the beach. And it wouldn't be appropriate to let that dog kind of barge into the group class, who's now fearful because he's now surrounded by 10 dogs, for example. And so I had to get that dog out of there, basically, you know, and that's because it comes down to safety, and that's the right thing to do. So the answer is, and I don't know if this is kind of what people, I think I understand where owners are coming from sometimes. I think owners think that dogs are similar to children, and a good way to get dogs like really good and comfortable with other dogs and even get them over their reactivity issues, their fear-based fight or flight issues. A good way to do that would be by doing lots of meetings, lots of like on-leash meetings with other dogs, right? Because dogs are where the problem is. Let's get my dog meeting with lots of other dogs and playing with lots of other dogs, and it will get better. This is the wrong way of going about this problem, particularly. This is the wrong way of going about this problem. Not that it's not okay for you to let your dog meet with other dogs, but that this often doesn't solve this issue. And a good example of something that I've seen many, many times and why this doesn't help with this situation, and other trainers probably, you will have seen this as well, dog reactive dogs that go to daycare meet loads of dogs in daycare, like could meet, I don't know, 30 dogs a week, could be different dogs and so on leash with the owner, walking past dogs, problem, right? So that's it right there, guys. Lots and lots of meetings with other dogs doesn't necessarily get your dog over reactivity. And here's the really sort of dangerous part of that thing, is that in my experience, the one bad experience your dog could have kind of trumps a lot of the good ones. And again, trainers, you will have seen this where you've had a dog and they meet with other dogs, and it's great, particularly with puppies under a year old, meeting lots and lots of other dogs, and then one day they meet the wrong dog, right? One day they meet the wrong dog and it doesn't go well, and it could be traumatic, and then the owner doesn't know how to deal with that, and then you've got a very reactive dog, or a dog that's very fearful of other dogs and goes into fight or flight when they encounter other dogs, and really struggles with that. And that's something I've seen many times, guys, where it's literally one experience. And so because of this, see, this is the thing. A lot of trainers, and a lot of really good trainers that I really respect, have a simple answer for people for this. A simple answer, which I kind of agree with in a way. The answer for them is you just don't do it. You just don't do it. You don't do on-leash meetings with other dogs. No, never, it doesn't happen. Yasta, that's it, the end of it, right? And to be honest with you, it will keep dogs safe. It will keep dogs safe. And in my own opinion, most of the dogs anyway, you want your dog to be able to just ignore them. You know, you're going to walk down the road, people walking past you on the other side of the road with their dogs and so on. You want your dog to just not care about those other dogs. We're doing our thing. We're on our walk. You know, we're walking past these dogs, these people. They're nothing to do with us, right? They're nothing to be scared about. Nothing for you to feel the need to react about, fight or flight out of fear, and nothing to be overexcited about, because we're not going to go over and meet and then play with that dog, right? Too much, with puppies particularly, too much going up to other dogs and having play interactions, particularly on leash, quite often on harnesses, in, again, inappropriate situations like the paseo, like the side of the road and so on. Too much of this can cause a problem that sometimes is referred to as over-socialization, where now your dog finds it very difficult to walk past other dogs without getting excited because of this experience that they've had. Dogs have triggered this in this dog time and time again. It's been rewarded time and time again by having these little play meetings, on-leash meetings. And then you can end up with a problem where that dog really feels the need to go over and meet that dog and then play with that dog. And really, first of all, I would say it comes from a place of like, that's how they're now coping with this situation, because they don't know how to do it any other way. So because they don't know any other way of doing it, this is the only way they've done it. This is their only way of kind of coping with that situation. And then sometimes with that, it can be a little bit difficult for that dog to just leave that other dog alone, right? Because they haven't experienced that. They haven't experienced like, hey, we're here, they're there, leave that dog alone. Nothing to do with us. There's another dog over there, leave that dog alone. We're walking past that. Quite often, the experience of that dog, the one that gets very overexcited with other dogs, has at some point in his life had his owners let him just kind of go up to other dogs quite often. That's come from somewhere, right? That's come from that experience at, like I said, inappropriate times or inappropriate places, right? Like I said, it's absolutely fine. I think it's great for dogs to have some friends. I think it's fantastic if your dog can have some friends. But like I said, this thing where if you take your dog out and now every dog they see they want to go up to and they want to meet and they want to play with, that's not helpful to you. And it is a form of reactivity, right? It's your dog not being able to cope any other way or not being able to ignore the dogs that are in the environment, right? So basically, like I said, a lot of trainers, a lot of very well-respected trainers that I very much respect, will just tell their clients, nope, doesn't happen, we don't do it, you don't do it, it doesn't happen. Which, like I said, I prefer that advice to like trainers that would say, oh yeah, go and like let your dog meet with all these other dogs in these places, like on the street, on the wherever. Just go, let your dog off the leash in the park and let them like bound over to every other dog or whatever it is, right? That's not good. That's not good. It creates these problems, and then like I said a little bit earlier in this video, that one dog that they shouldn't have met, if that makes sense, that sets them back so ridiculously far, and it can be really hard to recover from that. And so for that sort of thing, that's always in the back of my mind, that's always, especially with young puppies, I don't want them to have a very bad experience with an aggressive dog, for example. And if you can read it, then if you're going into this, as I said, with this kind of checklist like I do, and you're not just kind of going, oh, dog, great, let's go and meet, dog, great, I've got a puppy, there's a dog there, let's go and meet. As long as you're not doing that and you're kind of going, okay, wait a minute, there's a dog there, there's a person, let's see what's going on there, see what's going on over here, see what's going on with myself. Is it appropriate? Is it the right time to do it? Okay, cool. If you're doing that and also going, well, most dogs we're also going to ignore, because I want that to be the main thing my dog is able to do. Able to do is the word to use, actually able to do it. Because it comes from you actually doing that, from you actually going out. And if you don't have a dog that's like my dog Ozzy, who passed away, Ozzy, like in the first year, he was quite interested in other dogs. After the first year, he didn't care about other dogs. He just didn't care. There were some dogs that he would like older dogs, very, very calm dogs, but like puppies and stuff, he would go into like instant teacher mode. He would just be instant teacher mode. Like he wouldn't tolerate any nonsense kind of thing. So, oh God, he was such an amazing dog. But yeah, you want your dog to be able to ignore most of the dogs. You don't want your dog feeling like they need to go up to every dog, or because you have gone up to so many dogs that's all they know how to do, right? So this is where I think the disconnect is quite often with trainers and owners. Owners quite often think that it's a good idea or is socializing your dog when you go out on the walk and then you have your dog on leash and you see other puppies and other owners with their dogs and so on, and you just go up to as many dogs as possible. And a lot of owners, unfortunately, the internet in a lot of places tells owners that this is a good idea, right? And the other side of that is, like I said, trainers that are really, really good quite often tell owners, no, on leash meetings do not happen, right? And what I'm saying is like, I live in this kind of middle place where I think it's okay to have meetings. As I said, if I've gone through this checklist and I've assessed the situation and I've read that dog, read that person, read my dog, thought about, hey, is this appropriate in this circumstance? Is this what I want to be doing right now? Okay, fantastic. Make sure I'm nice and calm, and then go over and we can have a bit of a meeting, right? But if it's not, we're walking past that dog. We're walking past that dog. And especially if you're training a puppy, you don't want to, I would say you certainly don't want to be meeting more or going up and having these interactions with more dogs on the walk than your dog is walking past and just ignoring. And it might seem like not a very important thing. I can tell you it's a really important thing, because going out, like I said, with a dog that is either fearful, reactive, goes into fight, flight when they see other dogs and really struggles with that, or gets so overexcited that they just really want to pull you over to the other side of the road and get to that other dog and meet that other dog. Both of those are not pleasant experiences, basically, right? So you can fix this by not kind of creating the problem in the first place. And if you just go about it like the way I said, okay, cool, gonna take my puppy out, want him to be able to deal with people, kids, cars, bikes, scooters, dogs, cats, birds, all of that stuff. And so the way we're going to do it is we're going to just walk. We're just going to walk. We're just going to go for a nice, cool walk. You're going to be calm with me, nice and relaxed. Occasionally we'll stop, we'll let you have a little bit of like a sniff around, go to the toilet, absolutely. And then we're going to walk through the world, you by my side, basically with me holding your hand. And we're going to get through all of this stuff, fantastic. And if there is the occasional meeting with another dog, and I've gone through all of that, like I said, and even then, if I decide to go through that meeting and that other owner decides like, okay, that's cool, we'll do that. Even then, there are plenty of stuff to be reading when that's happening. Do you see what I mean, guys? And it's stuff that I've spoken about before in other lives, but you know, basically head-to-head interactions, not really wanted. So we stick to the 3-second or 2-second rule with that. If dogs are staring at each other for more than, well, up to 3 seconds like this head to head, usually it's not good. That's like the kind of rule to stick to with that. So you don't want that. What you kind of do want, or what's more preferred, is like would be like a nose to rear meeting, this kind of thing. And then you've got to be worried, a little bit cautious about the leashes getting tangled up, which has caused fights for people in the past. So it's another reason, another thing to think about that people don't think about sometimes until it's too late, and then it is too late, like I said. And so I think, like I said, that the thing is that if you're going to do it, read the situation very carefully. It's not important if you don't do it. It's not important if you see that person and that dog and you're thinking, oh, well, we might be able to meet this dog, and then it just doesn't happen for whatever reason, or you just decide not to do it. Fine. It's just another dog that your dog ignores on the walk now, you see? So fantastic. Excellent. Perfect. So it doesn't matter. Nothing really is gained from these kinds of meetings. You see, nothing is really gained. And like I said, the potential for a big setback, there's potential for that, okay? Especially if you're not good at reading the situation, or you're not, you don't know how to read dogs, okay? So, like I said, you can't go wrong with the advice of like, hey, just don't do it. And, you know, with regular dog owners, just tell them, just don't do it, you know what I mean? But the way I've always gone about it is I've always just kind of read the situation and I've kept calm, and that calmness has rubbed off on the dog in that situation. That's another thing. A lot of people don't know how to be calm in that situation. And I would say I've been like forced into learning it, basically, is the answer. And And sometimes I feel forced into it. Like I said, I'll be walking on the Paseo. We've done a walk with the dog. I've walked all the Paseo and back, and this dog's calm. Walk past loads of dogs. He's in a calm state of mind. Oh, little Chihuahuas run up to us. That's cool. I'm gonna let him have that one. He's gonna have a little meeting there. That's fine. Not a problem. Cool. A little meeting takes place. I'm assessing that, watching that. That all goes well. Because again, what's the point of me doing all of that good work and then for there to be like a setback? You see, either like the dog I'm with didn't cope with the meeting very well, and he gets reactive, and then that dog backs off, which reinforces this dog's reactivity. So there's, you see, as long as you're doing it for like the right reason, and quite often what people think is the right reason isn't the right reason. I think the right reason for it is, like I said, a situation where two dogs find themselves close together and you're allowing that meeting to take place based on the observation that you've just previously taken on that, okay? And if it's not appropriate and you're in a tight spot, get your dog to sit, get your dog to down. And that's where you use the obedience. Tell that person, my dog's in training, we're not doing on-leash meetings, we're not doing petting or anything like that. They will respect that. People respect that when you say, my dog's in training. Oh, don't let your dog come over here, please, my dog's in training. Oh, don't touch my dog, please. Or, oh, don't let your kids run past my dog fast like that, because my dog's in training, right? People, 99% of the time, I would say, people respect that, okay? So you can always say that if you feel like somebody's pressuring you and your dog into a meeting that is unwanted, okay? So let's break that down then. So on-leash meetings, if you can read the situation, if it's appropriate. This is the other thing. If I'm working with a dog over dog reactivity, and this is actually, sorry guys, this is like a huge point. Sorry, I'm gonna have a little bit of my coffee here, but this is like a huge point. I want to say this correctly now. Sometimes people get in touch with me and they're like, right, I've got a problem. I want it fixing. I want you to fix it. I want to do your thing. But I want you to fix the problem the way I think it needs to be fixed. And this, so many times, trainers, you must have this. Sometimes this is something that you've got to kind of work around right at the beginning of a relationship with somebody that you might be working with. Because this is the thing, I understand that people think they might know the answer. But if they don't know the answer, and they're going kind of off in the completely wrong direction, then what you've got to do is you've got to kind of bring them back. You got to say, hey, whoa, come back. Let's get back to the starting point here, because what you think is the solution to the problem isn't the solution to the problem. That won't fix it, okay? And so you have to kind of stop people from thinking in that way. Like, I want you to fix this in the way that I think it needs to be fixed. You got to stop, kind of bring people back, bring them back, and show them from the beginning how they got this problem in the first place. Because usually the two are kind of connected, the thing that the person thought would help and what created the problem in the first place kind of end up being kind of linked, like I said previously in the video. A lot of that over-socializing comes from owners thinking they're doing the right thing, going down to busy places and letting their dog pull them over to other dogs all the time. They're thinking this is the right thing to do. They've been told on the internet this is the right thing to do in places, unfortunately, right? I know this is the advice and I know it's completely wrong. But unfortunately, that is sometimes the way people think about going about it. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. So it's just bringing them back and starting from the beginning, okay? And showing them why that's not the way to go, okay? Quite often, the way to get a dog over, dog reactivity is going to be by taking your dog out on structured walks that very much show the dog, or gives the dog a clear job to do. And the job is walk with me, follow me, and ignore all the distractions going on. Very, very simple job, but it's a job that a lot of dogs really struggle with that when you first get them doing that. And it's, like I said, it's a really good idea if you get a young puppy, or if you get a dog from the shelter, that you do that first. Do that first. Bond with your dog first before you go and let your dog play with other dogs, or you go wandering off to other dogs on the walk and letting them meet with other dogs. Bond with your dog or puppy first. That's what I would recommend, okay? And it's quite often not what's done. You know, quite often what people prioritize is, let's let my dog have lots of other dog friends, or, you know, they're thinking that dogs are like kids and they need playmates. Really, what you need is to bond with that dog, you and that dog, particularly. So, guys, I hope that helps. I hope that wasn't too long. I don't even know how long I was going there for. But it's a topic that I haven't heard many people talk about. Like I said, there's advice that's given, different advice, but maybe in this video I helped to break it down, like beyond the surface level, and we were able to like kind of go a bit deeper, which is better in my opinion, and really get into what the problem is with it and how to go about it properly if you are going to do it. So I really hope that video helps you guys, and if you know anybody that might help, then maybe share the video to them, and I hope you all have a fantastic day. Okay, talk to you soon. Thanks.